attack, but basically, you probably know there's a branch of chiropractic called functional neurology, where they're looking to balance different regions of the brain. So our colleague Titus Chu taught me this great trick. This idea that when you're having a panic attack, that is your right frontal lobe that's overactive. So the way to calm it is to balance the left frontal lobe. The best way to do that is literally just to smell any oil, anything you have in your house, through your left nostril. Plug right nostril, smell through left nostril, usually 3 to 7 breaths. At a certain point, you stop smelling it. And you'll notice, especially for anyone who, it's very obvious to me when I'm having an anxiety attack. I feel better immediately.
Wow. So any oil, doesn't matter.
Any oil you have in your house, whatever you have, it doesn't matter, because it's basically just the act of smelling through the left nostril stimulates the left frontal lobe.
Interesting. Wow. Little trick. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it's a very good one. I mean, not everyone, we all have our different Achilles heels, right? But that's mine. And I can tell you that one works.
That's great. Now, you're like me. You like to do research, right? You're a research nerd. And so tell us a little bit about the most exciting or profound things about oils that you've researched that people should know.
Well, my favorite fun fact is the idea of stopping and smelling the roses. There's actually a Nobel laureate here in Seattle by the name of Linda Buck, and she did a lot of research on olfactory receptors, and basically the ones that respond to predator odor. Your sense of smell plays a key role in your survival. You can smell food, you can smell water, you can smell fire, you can smell predators. So the sense of smell goes directly to your amygdala, kind of the danger center in your brain. The other 4 senses are routed through the thalamus first. So she was doing research on what odor receptors are particular to predator odor and what kind of counteracts that so that it doesn't stimulate that fear response. And it turned out it was roses. Rose essential oil kind of stops that anxiety attack. And it's great for grief, especially putting it over your heart. So that made a lot of sense to me. I love kind of finding where those expressions, stop and smell the roses, what does that really mean? Why did they start that?
Right. And before we started recording, you had mentioned how you kind of experimented with the oils, and you put the rose oil over your heart versus just smelling it or putting it on your temples.
Yeah.
And it made a big difference for you.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's really interesting to me. In some ways, what you apply is more important, or where you apply it is more important than what you apply. Yeah, rose over the heart was more powerful than rose on the wrists. Lavender for sleep, it's very hit or miss for people, but I noticed if you do it in an Epsom salt bath, 2 cups of Epsom salt, 1 cup of baking soda, and I use just 3 drops of lavender. I use my bathtub as a mixing bowl, and I mix the oil into the salts before I turn on the water so it doesn't float on the top. And just soaking in the tub, I think it's the combination of the heat and the magnesium and the salt kind of open your pores, but that is much more of a full body relaxation experience for me than anywhere I've applied oil on the body.
Interesting. That makes sense though, with the salt and the hot water and mixing it ahead of time. Because I always, when you put it on top of the water, it's floating and you're trying to mix it into the water.
I know. It's those little hacks, right?
Right. So tell us about your book. I'm so excited for you and your new book.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's funny. You know how long it takes to publish a book. I basically got them this manuscript over a year ago before COVID. So it's really designed as a gift book. So it's super pretty. But what I came to realize is that oils, I'm not that person that's there's an oil for everything. If you're having a heart attack, go to the hospital. Right. But I think there are 5 areas where oils are really powerful in prevention. And so that's really what I try to detail. And it's very aligned with your approach. It's kind of calming your nervous system, supporting your sleep, opening your drainage pathways so that, when you're mobilizing toxins, they actually leave the body. Oils are great for lymph, for directionality. Here's a fun trick. Lymph does not drain evenly. 75% drains on the left side. And the biggest 2 bottlenecks are the neck and the left clavicle. So even if you just use castor oil, anything you can do to kind of open that up improves drainage. And then the endocrine system and energy to heal and immune modulation. So just ways that you can use oils in very strategic, kind of well-researched clinical ways to get the most bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's coming out when?
March 16th.
Okay, and we can get it on Amazon or?
Anywhere books are sold, yes.
Okay, that's awesome. Congratulations.